If you've ever felt invisible at work, overlooked, or afraid that one small mistake could ruin everything, this story is for you, so stay with me until the very end. And before the story unfolds, take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel, because stories like this remind us that courage often shows up when we least expect it. Lena almost turned around at the ballroom doors. Her fingers tightened around the thin strap of her borrowed handbag, and for a moment she wondered if pretending to feel sick and going home would be easier than stepping inside. The annual corporate gala glittered beyond the glass. Crystal chandeliers, polished marble floors, men in tailored suits and women in gowns that probably cost more than Lena's monthly rent. She was just an intern. A shy, quiet intern who usually blended into the background and spoke only when spoken to. She was only here because HR had sent a last-minute email saying all staff and interns were encouraged to attend. She checked the email again on her phone, heart pounding. Table assignments were attached, but the PDF wouldn't load. The line behind her began to grow, and a smiling hostess waved her forward. Lena gave her name in a small voice. The hostess scanned the list, smiled brightly, and pointed toward the center of the room. VIP table, right up front. Lena froze. "I think there's a mistake," she whispered. The hostess shook her head confidently. "No mistake. Enjoy your evening." Too stunned to argue, Lena walked toward the table, each step feeling heavier than the last. The table was massive, decorated with white roses and gold accents. Name cards sat neatly in front of each seat. Lena scanned them, confused. Most names were executives she recognized from the company website. Her name, Lena Ahmed, sat near the end. Her face burned. Maybe this was some cruel joke. Or maybe the company had mistaken her for someone else. People were already sitting down, chatting easily, laughing like they belonged. Lena slid into her chair, trying to disappear. A man sat down beside her a moment later. He looked to be in his early 40s, calm, well-dressed, with an air of quiet authority. He smiled politely. "Long night already." Lena laughed nervously. "You have no idea." Dinner began, courses arriving one after another. Lena barely touched her food, her nerves buzzing. The man beside her tried to make light conversation, asking about her role, how long she'd been with the company. She answered briefly, careful, afraid of saying something wrong. Then the man leaned back slightly and said, casually, "So, how are you finding the company so far? Be honest." The words slipped out before Lena could stop them. Maybe it was the exhaustion. Maybe it was months of swallowed frustration. Or maybe it was the simple kindness in his tone. "Honestly," she said softly, "it's intimidating. I feel like interns don't really matter. And some people, especially upper management, feel so distant. Like they don't care what it's actually like on the ground." She paused, then added with a nervous laugh, "And don't even get me started on the CEO. He sends emails about open-door policies, but everyone says he's impossible to approach." The man raised an eyebrow, amused. "That bad?" Lena nodded. "I've never even seen him in person. He feels more like a rumor than a leader." The man smiled again, but this time it was unreadable. "Interesting perspective." As dessert was served, the lights dimmed and a microphone squealed softly. A hush fell over the room. Lena's stomach dropped. The host announced the highlight of the evening, the CEO's address. Applause erupted. The man beside Lena stood up. Her heart stopped. As he walked toward the stage, reality crashed over her like ice water. The confident posture, the calm presence, the subtle authority. Lena's breath caught in her throat as the host boomed, "Please welcome our CEO." Her vision blurred. She wanted the floor to swallow her whole. On stage, he thanked everyone for coming, his voice steady and warm. Then he said something that made Lena's chest tighten. "Tonight, I had the pleasure of sitting with someone who reminded me why leadership matters. Someone brave enough to speak honestly." The room murmured. He looked directly at Lena. Her face burned hotter than ever before. "She told me she felt invisible," he continued. "That our company can feel intimidating. And that sometimes, leadership feels distant." Lena braced herself for humiliation. Instead, he smiled gently. She was right. Silence filled the room. "If even one intern feels that way," he said, "then that's on us. On me." The applause that followed was softer, more thoughtful. Lena sat frozen, tears stinging her eyes. After the speech, the CEO returned to the table. He sat beside her again. I owe you an apology, he said quietly. And a thank you. Lena swallowed. I'm so sorry, I didn't know. He held up a hand. That's the point. You spoke freely because you thought I was just another employee. That honesty is rare. And valuable. Over the next weeks, things began to change. Lena noticed small shifts at first, open Q&A sessions, managers asking interns for feedback, the CEO occasionally walking through departments instead of staying hidden behind glass walls. One afternoon, Lena received an email requesting a meeting. Her hands shook as she entered the executive floor. But this time, she didn't feel small.